welcome back, Evan. We missed you. That's what we were missing last week. Evans was on the show last week, and that's what we're missing because it just makes the show just look more professional when we have, people clapping for us. But we do have people clapping for us.
Happening.
Well, it's the sound budget, right? It's a new month. It's December 1st. A new budget has been approved for December. So shout out to the marketing department for supplying that. And thanks everyone for jumping on. We have a special guest, Dan, who we will introduce in a minute. But thanks everyone for jumping on. If this is your first time watching us, if you're coming from Dan's side of the world and you don't know exactly what we're doing on this show, all these dudes here have YouTube channels, and we take turns weekly every Wednesday at 7:30 to talk about photography things, video things, random things. We just kind of make stuff up as we go sometimes, but that's just the beauty of the show. So huge thanks to Dan for taking the time. If you're not familiar with who I am, based in Toronto and have a YouTube channel around photography, vlogs, documentaries, do small business interviews, do other random things that I just think about on the fly. So also full disclosure, my birthday's actually Friday. So if you've seen my banner there, birthday's Friday. But if you're not subscribe because it makes for a great birthday gift and it's free. You don't have to spend any money, which is fantastic. And it makes me just feel really good. So check me out. And if you like what you see, subscribe, hit the bell, all the things, the deal. And that's me in a nutshell. And I won't try to take up too much time. I'll throw it to Mr. McGowan for a little intro.
That'll be super quick. My name is Bryan McGowan, Brampton, Ontario-based photographer, videographer. Have a YouTube channel where I am doing ghost hunting, and I'm also a photographer primarily, but YouTube is just something else entirely. Anyway, we'll keep going around to our guys, and we'll finish with Dan. So we'll go down to Evans.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Evans, based in Brampton, Ontario as well. I shoot photos, I shoot videos. I know the last couple of months, my YouTube has been mainly on video stuff, but from time to time, I do some photography stuff as well.
Still do photography on the side.
Yeah, But most especially if you're into filmmaking equipment, filmmaking gear, gimbals, stuff like that, my channel is a place to go. Super excited to have done here. You're gonna learn a lot today, so hope you're ready for it. All right, Andre.
What's up, everybody? Andre here, another Brampton-based photographer, videographer, and all that good stuff. And I tried everything from weddings to all that fun stuff, but the stuff I really like to do are, fire, steel wool, light painting, and all that really creative stuff. So I won't take up any more time.
Yes.
So
just again, special thank you to Dan, who has been kind enough to take the time to chat with us, because Dan's all over the internet these days, and he's super busy. So Dan, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. So first off, thank you guys for having me. This is really freaking cool. I don't know if I asked this. Are we allowed to cuss on the live, or?
This is a family show, so we typically try to keep cuss words at minimum.
Phase it out. It's okay. I got you. So I'm Dan, 25, based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Been living here for about a couple years now. But I went to school for marketing and worked in corporate for a little bit. I worked for a Medicare company and then worked for a tech startup, and eventually segued into photography. Ended up getting fired from my job, but it's okay. It wasn't right for me. And, I found this passion for photography. And ever since then, I have just been building it and into something that I'm really proud of today. So it's been a crazy ride. I usually do landscapes. I'm getting into portraits more, really starting to ramp up for weddings. Okay. But where I really see myself excelling in is I really want to get into commercial and product work. So yeah, just been all over social, dude. Just trying to do the thing. So it's fun.
No, for sure. And you want to maybe throw out where you are on the internet?
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I started on Instagram last year, and then I went from Instagram and just kind of started building on there. And then as Instagram started to get a little bit more difficult to grow on organically, I kind of made the switch to Twitter. And so Twitter just kind of blew up. Started like 6 followers, and then now I'm like just reached 12K, which is really cool. Really just trying to build like a community and
that deserves the applause, 100%.
Yeah. So I'm just, trying to do my best. I always tell everybody all the time, just trying to do my best to build like a really positive, creative community across all platforms. So like I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. Starting to get into Reddit more. Clubhouse, I'm starting to get into a little bit. So really just like getting out there,
Yeah, for sure. And for the people in the chat, I put all of Dan's links in the description, so check him out there. But I mean, Twitter is a pretty interesting place. Like, how would you advise someone to grow on Twitter? Is it just a matter of just like constant engagement, or using like the right hashtags?
Yeah, so Twitter's interesting. I feel like it depends on what community that you're involved in. But for the most part, like Twitter's a very, like I say this all the time, like we were even talking about this a little bit before, but Twitter's like a very decentralized platform. So I think the thing that resonates with people when they come to Twitter is they want to connect with individuals. Like they really want to be able to just understand who you are as a person and not just like the highlights of your life. So I am an open book. I'll tell you anything. Like I have no reserves of who I am, where I come from, what I do. And I think that really resonates with people. Like I think it just makes you more genuine and authentic, and like to really grow a brand or like a social presence, authenticity and consistency are the 2 things that I tell everybody. If you're not authentic, like people can smell BS from a mile away, so
I agree with that.
So just
especially on Instagram, when it's all like wins like all day long, like people just get tired of it. And too, like I think the other thing with Twitter is, for whatever reason, it's just people are like more like, and you were saying earlier, people are just more open to having a conversation. Like and it makes it that much easier to connect. And especially now with Twitter Spaces, that came from Clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken. And they have just been ridiculously like promoting Twitter Spaces to the point where like I was in a space, I was telling a friend of mine, I was in a space the other day with 26,000 people. You know what I mean? Wow.
Like 26,000 people.
What's happening there? But what's happening there?
So it's a segment that this one guy did. I'll have to find his Twitter. I forget. I think his name's like Jack or something. But his whole thing is hashtag sing in your dialect. And so I think he's based in Britain. So he's just like I don't know. He just hosts these spaces, and there's just like a ridiculous. Like he hosts the one that
cities.
Yeah, the one that I was in with 26 grand was really cool. But then every other space he hosted after that I saw still had like 2,000 to 3,000 people. I'm like, holy crap! Wow. Like this is insane, and it's so cool because it's live. Like you're there. There's no, sometimes like a term that we use is getting rugged. If you if you get thrown out, or if you just kind of like lag out of the room. But like Twitter really hasn't had much of those problems lately. I think they've really done a lot to improve because they've seen like what Twitter Spaces is doing for people in general. So it's really cool.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think maybe even like, during like the pandemic, I think people were really like just kind of like longing for like actual conversations, because, you can't see anyone, especially at the start of it. Right. So I think people were really looking for like actual like conversations with people. And sometimes they're obviously like, not in your own country. So I think that kind of helped fueled it a little bit, maybe in a way. So.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed too is, and I sound like a broken record when I say this, but it's really unique in the fact that for the longest time, Twitter, every social media platform has been kind of like this idea of, it's linked to anxiety and depression, and understandably so. Like there's so many factors that go into that. But I think where Spaces really differentiates itself from a lot of like facets of social media is you're adding another human element to the platform, right? Like you're adding another sends to the human experience. And so like you're able to connect with people on a deeper level. Like for instance, I've made, you know, there are friends that I've made on Twitter that I never would have imagined that I'm like FaceTiming, you know, every day. Like I just had a FaceTime with a good buddy of mine that lives in Reno, and just had a phone call with somebody else that dropped an NFT collection. And like, you're just connecting with, you know, I met up with another person in Pittsburgh for a photo shoot that I met them all on Twitter. And it's just wild to me that I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
So
that's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that I think a lot of people should, if you are creative, Twitter is definitely, like I say to everybody, I will die on this hill. Twitter is definitely a place that I think you should visit and put in some TLC, because you know, it'll do wonders for your brand, for yourself, and just like reconstruct your whole vision of what it means to be on social media. So
okay,
awesome. I think I've been really lazy with Twitter. I think I only maybe follow
Evans. I tagged you like a bunch. Evan reposted any of it.
Only the people up here.
You got to get on it, dude.
Slacker.
So yeah, that's why I'm so interested in tonight's show, because I got to figure out how to use it properly and more effectively. Because you know.
Well, I think I think you also need to plan out your content, right? Because Dan, you showed me like your schedule like offline. Like you're pretty organized, man.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I will say this, for as much as I talk bad, well, I talk ill. I talk ill about working in an office sometimes. It's just, it wasn't a thing for me. People do it. That's great. And if that's for you, that's awesome. But I will say the one thing that working in an office has taught me is to work like a machine. And so that's what I try to do at home. Just like, you know, daily routines and things to get you, you know, in the groove and stuff. But one thing that we did use when I did work for my last job was Monday.com. And we were super organized. Like we, you know, were able to get a ton of stuff done between like the marketing team and myself. And so I really do like applaud that initiative. Like it was super awesome. And so, I plan out I got all my content planned out for December. I campaign everything out. So everything has its, you know, I have my pillar content and everything that follows. Like it's very, very methodical. So I make sure that I'm hitting all of the check boxes when I do this stuff.
Oh man, that's great, man. I think I can definitely learn something from you in terms of just like planning out content, because I mean you got to be in so many places. Like if you're not organized, I mean it's easy to lose your way like a little bit, right?
Yeah, so I think like something that something to keep in mind is like understanding what audience is on each platform. Like like what you would say on Facebook might not be great to put on Twitter. You know what I mean? So
great point.
So one thing that I try to do is like Twitter, I think I have pretty down packed. I feel like I know my audience really well there. Facebook and TikTok is something that I'm taking on that's completely new to me. So like I'm revamping everything. So like my, just a little look into my world. For Facebook, I'm using that directly as just business. I want to create like a community platform there where they can come to my business page and like still fostering that community of creatives, but on a more kind of like professional level. So you'll see on that platform where I'm posting like my podcast, where I'm posting my blog posts. There's going to be like a lot of long form written content that goes on Facebook, and some things there that I'll differentiate, as opposed to Twitter, where that's just very like hit and go. Here's what's going on. So it's just understanding each platform and knowing your audience.
That's a skill, man. That's a skill to understand what each audience wants. I mean, that's not easy to do, right?
Yeah, no, it takes time,
easy.
And it's you really have to listen. I tell that to people
you have to listen. You have to ask questions, right? Like, what do you guys want? What are you guys looking for? Like, totally, man. It's a great point, actually.
Yeah, and it's something that I found out. I got lucky on Twitter. I found that out really quickly what people wanted, and what they like to hear, and what they're talking about, and just kind of like understanding the pain points of the creative community on Twitter. So once you can like figure that out and understand that more, it makes it easier. It makes it fun because then you actually really get to interact with people on a meaningful level.
Oh yeah. I always say that if you're not having fun, then like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, I had a conversation with somebody the other day that, they had DM'd me and they were like, hey, I see all the things that you're doing and, I see all the things that you're doing and it's really cool and it's really inspiring. And I'm like, thank you. But, then they messaged me and they said, I just get really upset because like none of my stuff is getting any reach. And, you have people on there that unfortunately are just kind of like comparing them. They're defining themselves based on their social media.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, like, if your goal is to create this mass following for no reason whatsoever, then yeah, you're going to be upset because that's a hunger that will never be satisfied. Like that you're just signing up for the wrong things. But if you're there with a mission and a passion and you have a message that you really want to communicate, then I think that, you can do really well and it just makes you more genuine and authentic. Right. Like, so I told the guy, I was like, social media is a utility to get you to where you want to be. It should never be the definition of who you are. If you can keep that in mind, it's fun, keep it positive. I would say like, keep the love going, keep the support going, and people will give it right back to you 110,000% every single time.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely, man. It's a great point. It's kind of keep it on the subject of Twitter is that obviously you're big into NFTs, and I think some people want to learn what exactly are NFTs and what's kind of like the basic concept or the basic kind of like overview of like an NFT. If you can kind of explain that in about 20 seconds, Dan.
Yeah. So an NFT, 20 seconds. An NFT is a non-fungible token. So basically, I always just describe NFTs as digital. It's just digital artwork, right? Like you have websites that you can host your work on, and people can bid on those pieces of work, or they can buy that piece of work, and then they can resell it. They can do whatever they want with it. Another thing that NFTs another thing that NFTs can be used for is to provide utility for anything, right? So if you buy an NFT on a website, I'm probably setting myself up here to get way into the weeds.
Yeah,
but
that's all right. We'll rescue you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So another thing, about NFTs is, say a company like Disney, right? They want to provide value to their customers. They can post a picture of Mickey Mouse online to purchase off of one of these websites. And if you buy that picture of Mickey Mouse, then you can get into a movie or a Marvel movie for free for, one time or a year. And again, the limits to the utility of NFTs are limitless. Like it is only limited to the imagination of whoever is creating it. So that's the best way I can explain it without getting way too far into it.
Digital artwork. Think about like the Mona Lisa, but it's digital, and you have it.
Right.
And there's only one.
You got it. Yep.
That's kind of like the way I try to explain it to people. So where do you think NFTs are going to be in 1 year from now? Like, where do you think they're going to be? Like, is it going to be bigger? Is it going to die down? Like, where do you be a year from now?
See, that's a loaded question. I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because there's so much that's being done with them right now that it's really hard to tell. Like the space moves incredibly fast. I think we're seeing a really positive wave of activity in NFTs with photography specifically and for smaller creators, in the sense of, I say, this is a big topic of conversation right now, that NFTs are kind of like providing this renaissance for artists.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where you've never had a time period or something ever where you can connect directly with collectors. And it's incredible. I mean, it really is, because, imagine being an artist anytime before NFTs, right? Even like a couple years ago, you're trying to put out your artwork and you're going to all these people, and these people with all this money, or maybe like you're going to art events or shows or something, and people are walking by your work and they're, sometimes dangling a carrot over your face to buy your stuff. It was really hard to sell your stuff. And so now we're in a place where you can build a community of collectors and people that really appreciate your work, that'll keep coming back, that'll keep supporting you, not only from collectors, but artists can support other artists. So now you have this cycle of artists just buying each other's work and supporting one another and closing the gap of this idea of a starving artist. It's really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's all I see on Twitter now, just NFTs everywhere. I met someone over the weekend and he told me about, it's an actual meetup of NFT artists, and it's a meetup of NFT artists in Toronto on Sunday, and it's like this huge marketplace of people just getting together and just talking NFTs and just talking to business. So are there like meetups like that where you are?
Not that I know of or that I'm aware of. I would definitely love to come up with an initiative like that to meet up with people. I think that would be really cool. Excuse me. Just because, it's important. I think it's really important to learn, and the space is very open. There's no shade being thrown around the space, and if there is, it's shut down immediately, because it's one of those things where NFTs are kind of like, it sounds kind of cliche, but it's like made by the people for the people. I feel like it's one of those ideas where people want to see you succeed, and they want to see you grow and sell your work and become successful. So I would love to have an NFT meetup.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone told me about it on the weekend. So I mean, that's how I met Bryan and Andre. We were actually, because I asked you offline if you knew Cody Warner. He's from Harrisburg, and he came up to Toronto and did a meetup for like video people, and that's how I met Andre and Bryan.
It was a YouTubers meetup. It was great.
It was a YouTube meetup in Toronto, like a month prior to the lockdown. So I also managed like a photography meetup called Get Out Shoot, and it's the largest photography group in Toronto. And through these meetups, you just meet people in real life and just kind of like basically do the same thing on Twitter, but like in real life, right? So great way to learn and to kind of like further your knowledge. So hey, if there isn't one in Pittsburgh, maybe you should start one.
Hey, I mean,
it could be another project for you.
I'm leaving mental notes, dude. I have a whole special projects section in my Monday that I add to, so I'm ready for it.
Paul suggested meetup ? Question mark.
I'll throw you the creds.
Yeah. No. Hey, if you're gonna throw it up, I want to join in on one.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they are fun.
Yeah. I don't know. Because my friends, like the photo group I managed is called Get Out Shoot, and my friend started it because he was at a different meetup, and that meetup was snobby. Like you can't use this kind of gear, you can't use a crop sensor, you can't use a kit lens. So he's like, this is stupid. I'm starting in my own group.
What?
It was really crazy, man. Anyway, so people don't know what they don't know, right? So if you can create that space where people feel safe and they feel kind of like validated to be there, then it basically goes a long way, right? So
yeah, well, you know what, I'm glad that you actually brought that up, because again, just kind of like backtracking to Twitter, it's part of the reason why I encourage people to share their work is for that reason, to feel comfortable sharing their work. Because when I first started out in photography, I was kind of nervous to share my stuff. Even though I was like confident about sharing it, I'm still like terrified of what people are going to say about my work. I'm not perfect, and it's a very, it's subjective, right? Like it's
art. Yeah, it's art. There is no right or wrong answer. It's
absolutely. Yeah. And so what's really unique, and I think is fun about the community that I have is, I always say, never be afraid to share your work. Always be engaging. Always say positive things, because like you just never know what somebody else is going through or how it's going to impact their life. It's just it can make a world of a difference, even if you just like and retweet their stuff. And I've seen it firsthand. It's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. So people can purchase NFTs from you. Like, do you have through your website?
So I actually have a link. If you go to my website, I'll do a little plug here, but www.TheDanCosta.com. There's actually a little pop-up bar that comes up at the top that lets you link to my OpenSea. And so I have my first collection that I released a little bit ago. I mean, I can dive into it if you guys want to.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
I
kind of want to show it. I kind of want to show it as you're talking.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I wanted to ask, what are some websites that you would recommend to use to share your stuff for NFTs?
Just as like listing your NFTs, or
because I don't know anything about it really. So
so there's one major one right now that I think a lot of people are attracted to, which is OpenSea. I think that's the most popular one. You have other websites like Super Rare and FND or Foundation that people use. Those sites you have to be invited to. So how you get invited to those is artists that were currently on the platform and they sell their work. Once you, I believe how it works is once you sell a piece on Foundation or Super Rare, then you have the ability to invite another artist, through an email or through a specific link that they can then start to post work or mint their work on those websites. But OpenSea is free. It's you're able to go on there, create collections.
Yep, we see what you got there.
Looks like it's there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that little bar at the top. Check out my first NFT. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I think OpenSea is the main contender right now for posting your work. There's a lot of people going to that platform, and OpenSea connects very well and is very vocal on Twitter. I'll always see them in Twitter Spaces and connecting with artists firsthand and promoting their work. And I think they're doing a good job at providing like a great community aspect for NFTs. And the other thing too about OpenSea is, speaking specifically to photography, that I think they might create a photography section on their website, which would be phenomenal because you see photography everywhere. It is everywhere. And so, I feel like it's only right that, photographers are due their section for selling NFTs. I'm like very about that. But
thanks for It's Friday. You missed my intro. It's okay. I'll take 2 birthdays.
Just make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, well, I hope I'm not subscribed. Half of my videos. What's your experience been like, kind of like doing NFTs? Like what's like I'm trying to think of a project that I would do for like an NFT, but like, what kind of advice would you give someone to like make their first one? Like, should it be personal? Should it be something for the audience? Like, how should people approach it?
Again, it's art, so it's subjective, right? So I think however you feel comfortable presenting yourself on the platform is the best thing, but maybe even not how you present yourself on the platform. Just what do you want to present to the world? To what story do you want to share? I think for me personally, like I was going back and forth with posting my originally I was going to post a collection that was a bunch of landscapes, but it was going to mean something completely different than what I had originally posted for my first collection. And so I kind of sat back and thought, like, what do I want? What message do I want to provide when I first dropped my collection? And that was everything that helped me become who I am today, which is being authentic. And so that's what my whole, a lot of people do fine landscapes and this crazy artwork and stuff. The passion and the message behind my collection is you're following a story. You're not so much buying the work for its the way that it looks, but you're buying the art based on the story that's behind it. So my first collection was based around me coming out last year and, finally getting to a place where I was very self-accepting of myself, which is why the collection is called Acceptance. And just,
cool.
When you buy into my collection, you're able to get a firsthand look at what I was going through and what I was experiencing at the very beginning of what is now my passion and like my life and, you know, what I love to do. So again, like, you know, and again, in short answer, that was a long answer, but to short answer your question, it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah. I like the, yeah, we actually have someone similar. Do you know Tyler's journey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he posted his whole life story on Twitter with his like NFT collection. So, I mean, that's pretty personal stuff, like what he was posting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because like that's, you know, if you look very closely at how the NFT community is kind of like constructed or what goes on is it's very much based around like the nitty gritty of and how relatable, you know, it's authenticity. It's how much,
it goes back to conversation. It goes back to conversation again. Right.
Yeah. And so that's why I think, you know, that's why I think a lot of people are really infatuated with NFTs and just being in the community because it's just fun to be a part of. It's relatable. It's you can connect very easily and it's fun.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not sure if you follow, but he's all over NFTs and like he's basically saying that like in like 15 years, all companies will do business via the blockchain, like contracts and such. So that's like where the future is headed, right? Like it's going beyond photography, like it's going to like business. So
yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, like I said, the applications of it we haven't even thought of like a fraction of what we could be doing with NFTs or anything in the whole metaverse yet. It's just
metaverse. I mean, all these terms are coming out. Like, what is the metaverse? It's like this imaginary world of, you know, art and like and crime and like I'm thinking like Blade Runner, but like cooler.
Yeah. So from my understanding, the meta is like it's.
We need Zuckerberg on here.
I know, right? It's
Zuck on.
It's crazy. I would just imagine, like, I always say this. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie, like, Ready Player One.
Yeah.
So it's basically the meta is basically like that. You're putting yourself in a virtual world where you're affected by almost like real time and real life occurrences. You're going to be able to use NFTs and, you know, crypto to buy certain things and, you know, the meta to help you succeed or, you know, whatever it is that you want to do. It's just, like I said, it's just wild to think about.
The crazy thing is that the meta is going to become real and the real is going to become fake. Right? Like it's going to get so, like the meta's become so real. Like what's real, what's fake anymore?
Yeah. You know there's something that I just saw this the other day and I'm typing it up real quick. Sony had developed this massive dome. It's just like if you can imagine, this entire space that you're standing in like a circle, and the circle goes out maybe 5 or 6 feet to either side, and you're just surrounded by this half dome of cameras. Yeah. And so basically, what Sony's doing is they are trying to provide the biggest collection of digital image, like 3D imaging for the metaverse. So like they want to capture a 3D rendering and, use that to put in the meta. So like essentially what would happen is if you stand in this dome and they take a picture of you, like your life-size avatar, like full on would be used in this like meta. It's wild. Like what they're doing is just crazy right now. It's
So it'll be a computer simulation in a computer simulation.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think, and again, I don't know what their intentions are around it. I don't know if they're going to be, selling these 3D objects, as NFTs to people for like, it's crazy, like
they're going to sell you as an NFT.
Yeah, they might.
I'm for sale.
Yeah.
Andre's for sale. Hey man, that's going to be your first NFT, Andre. You.
Yeah.
Why not?
Andre's first NFT will be a picture of a T-shirt that says "Don't let yourself block yourself."
Yeah, that definitely should. That definitely should be it. That definitely should be it.
Good idea, man. I will do that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man. I don't know. Someone sent me an email the other day, because I was doing a video for YouTube with her, and she sent me an email like this trial thing saying where you could like post your YouTube video in like the metaverse. So your YouTube video is like in this metaverse, and people like will just watch YouTube video when they're there. Like it's like I'm like I don't understand what you're sending me.
There was a I wish I would have saved the tweet. I could have shown you guys in this combo, but there was a guy that tweeted out the other day that he bought a piece of land in Decentraland or some other like essentially you buy a plot of land in this digital world. And so he bought it for, however many, I think it was like $50 or something. And he just sold it for like $19,000, because companies are now coming in and they want to be a part of this. And it's just, it's weird. I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if it should be excited or, nervous.
It's already a meme, actually.
Yeah,
it's already a meme.
There was a news item here in Toronto about someone buying a virtual land for $2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a meme now. It's the meme is millionaires just be bored at this point.
And it's just it's crazy.
Millionaires are bored, man.
But it's
$2 million for virtual land.
And again, like the applications are endless, and like you just like it's so early. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's so early to just understand what all of this is going to be used for.
Yeah, like what's like
I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be a crazy movie though. That's all I know.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
It's definitely gonna start Will Smith though, for sure, somewhere.
You got. I was gonna say Class A celebrities. You got to get them in there at some point.
Oh, well, they gotta be. They gotta be involved. They have to be involved. So you like shooting landscape, right, Dan?
I do. Yes.
So what's if we all visited Pittsburgh, like where would you take us to shoot?
So
landscape?
I love Ohio Pile. It's one of the state parks here. It is beautiful, and it is actually like one of the first places that really inspired me to start getting into landscapes. Mainly just because. I'm sorry.
How do you spell it?
Ohio, OHIO PYLE.
I'm just gonna try to show the. State Park.
Yes. Yeah. Ohio Pile State Park. Yep.
Oh.
I just want to come down and shoot Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I like Pittsburgh.
It's a beautiful city, man.
I
think it's really it's underrated in a lot of ways, and I tell people all the time, Pittsburgh is probably one of the only cities where you can get the views like you can. I mean, from Mount Washington and all these other lookouts and stuff. It's just crazy. Like even at, I don't know if you guys checked out my Instagram, but like some of the sunrises that were there that I shot, what is that, like a month and a half ago or something, are just wild.
Oh, let's get your Instagram up. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
But Ohio Pile is probably like the place that I would recommend that. And then there's McConnell's Mills. That's a really beautiful place in the winter that I love to go to. And then what else? You have like the Delaware. I mean, like even just throughout PA in general, like, you have the Delaware Water Gap and all sorts of places. One place that I really, really, really love is I'm losing the name now.
You guys have his IG up? You guys have Dan's IG up?
Yep. Yeah, we can see it.
Which one is it?
So the picture, like the most recent fall picture with like the one on the left.
The river there?
Yep. So those are the natural water slides at the park, and they're like gorgeous. You can actually like sit in them if it's not running too much. You can actually sit in those and like slide. They're like natural water slides.
Oh,
wicked.
But then all these other ones that you're seeing right here. So yeah, so this one's
Mills.
That is McConnell's Mills. Yep. So that's another beautiful place. I mean, like all year round, it's pretty, but
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's
fall. The fall is where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting there just like towards the end of fall, so the colors weren't as great as I wanted them to be, but it was definitely still worth going. So yeah, and then I got a couple cityscapes, and that one right there to the left of the incline of the trolley going down. Yeah, so that one's actually like one of my favorite ones.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that one, I remember going there that morning, and I was like so upset because I just like had no, like my camera was like just on empty, and like I was about to run out, and like I was like, what am I gonna do? And so I was like rushing to get these last pictures because I just had none that I really loved, and I was like, you guys can't see it, but there's a iron fence that goes across, and so I don't have a tripod or anything, and I'm very short. So like, well, I don't have a tripod to go over that iron fence. So like, I was just like taking my camera and just like trying to, like my arm was so like contorted trying to get this picture, and I literally just kept clicking the button as soon as I saw the incline like go up, and I got that, and I was like, oh my god, dude, I don't care about any other picture that I got today. This is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is
as long as you got one. As long as you got one, right?
Exactly.
Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do to get the shot, man. Because we've all done some not so fun stuff to get the shot. So
yeah,
especially Bryan.
Oh yeah.
Especially Bryan.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have legit crawled through piles of poop to get photos.
Do you mind? I mean, do you mind delving into that a little bit, or is that
No. I usually carry spare clothes in my car just for that very reason. So I've been doing shoots of either toddlers, or last summer I think it was, I was doing a best friend shoot for two girls, and just where the two girls were set up, the only way to get the shot was to crawl through the poop. So I'll put on a new shirt when I'm done. I need to get the shot.
Dedicated.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Canadians, we're crazy up here.
Doing the wildlife stuff, you're like, I've spent hours laying in the mud or hours laying in the snow, freezing cold, just to get one shot, you know?
So for wildlife photography, because that's something that I was actually kind of interested in, but I just didn't know how to go about it. Like, do you just go in? I mean, I'm sure it's easier probably where you guys are based at, but like in Pittsburgh, it's literally all suburbs. There's like I have to go like 2 hours out of the way, like an hour and a half out of the way, even to get to the nearest, state park or something.
Yep. That's a lot of patience, a lot of days. If you're doing straight wildlife, there are a lot of days where you're coming home with nothing.
Really?
But then there are days where, and I'll just share a quick photo here. I know it's kind of your show, but I'll just show you one here quick. Oops. This was the product of 4 hours in the mud in Algonquin Park.
Yeah,
see, that's wild. I would love to get stuff like that, but I'm just like, how do people go about doing this?
That's why they're photographers, man.
It's patience. It's a lot of patience.
Separates everyone.
But then you've got a spot up here, and Andre and I were just there with a friend recently, called the Canadian Raptor Conservancy.
Yeah.
And
silver platter.
The animals aren't wild, but you do get a chance to get some fantastic photos there.
Yep. And you can always practice with the zoo. Start off with the zoo.
Yep.
Practice with the zoo. Get some practice there. It gives you an idea of what kind of length of lenses to bring along for that kind of stuff. Settings and stuff like that. Played around with the zoo with a more controlled environment at first.
So I would think,
and then head out.
For someone like you, Dan, once the borders open, being in Pennsylvania, probably wouldn't be too bad to come across. The Canadian Raptor Conservancy is on Lake Erie.
Okay.
And I'll just give you a quick share. This is the type of stuff you can get there all day long. It's not even a challenge to do this stuff. They put it right in front of you, basically. Like, they'll just put that right in front of you.
Really?
No poop.
So I was maybe 8 feet away from that, getting that shot.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
CRC,
I mean,
man.
you pay for the session. It's like $75 for, but they do flight too, so you'll get flight shots.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? I'll pop one more up here. This is shot with a 16 mil on a crop sensor, so about 24 equivalent, just to give you an idea of how close you are.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, man.
That's wild. You said it's called the Raptor Conservatory?
Canadian Raptor Conservancy. It's in Port Dover, Ontario, basically. So once the border is all fixed up and we can actually travel back and forth. Yep, there's
That'd
another
be
one.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, you can bang that stuff out all day.
Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had an interview with his name was Deer, and he was from Kenya. He was actually like my first interview to introduce my podcast, and he went on a 2-week excursion through, I forget what part, but he was just, his photos are just insane. Like, he's 18 and this dude is just killing the wildlife game, and like elephants, zebras, giraffes, like just everything anything you think of, like, it's just wild to me. So like that's what he's
Nice.
like one of my big, he's one of my big inspirations to start
So
capturing wildlife.
I just shared
Love
another
that.
one, Dan. This is actually taken at the Toronto Zoo. So
Yeah.
just
Wow.
waiting for the right light, and with a tiny bit of manipulation, you can shoot stuff like this at a zoo.
Yeah, that's wild. I gotta start going to the zoo more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh Zoo.
yeah,
I think
Fro
the
goes
last,
there all the
Yeah.
time. Fro shoots there all the time. So
I was gonna say, I think the last time I went there was a couple months ago. I need to really reconsider where I'm spending my money.
Yeah, man.
that's. But also consider, like, as you're taking the photos, you're trying to make it look like it's not a zoo.
Right.
Is the main thing.
I love that snake picture.
Yeah. So your framing, composition, all of that
Yeah.
comes to play, right? To make
These
it look
are all
more
taken
like
at a zoo.
you're in the wild.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, these are all zoo photos.
I would never guess. Like, that's just,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's awesome. I might be taking a trip to the Pittsburgh Zoo in the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah. If
Do
you're
it.
not seeing it, if you're not seeing it on the IG story, man, let's
Yeah.
go away.
The only thing I have so I have my Sony A6000, and then I have a 50. The only lens that I have right now is 50mm prime, and then I have the kit lens that I came out. I think it's like what is it, like a 16 to 50 or something, or
Probably around that.
so. But I love my 50. It's like my favorite thing. I use it literally.
Butter.
I use it religiously. It's awesome.
So if you're a Sony crop sensor guy, look up the Sigma 16.
Sigma 16.
Yeah. It's a 1.4. It's crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
Evans, I've sold Evans on it. I've sold Andre on it. I've sold other people on it.
It's not like, it's not too terribly expensive. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's not. And it is
Evans is showing to you right now.
ridiculously sharp.
Right here on the
Price
A7
point.
A6400.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've been shooting this like crazy recently. And it's
And the 1.4 is just crazy for interiors, like low light situations. The 1.4 is so nice.
See, I have a goal by next year. I want to be a Sony ambassador. So I'm like doing everything that I can to will it into existence. And I don't know if I'm like so nervous to use anything other than Sony, not like, in a bad way, but like when I go to, hopefully pitch myself to the team, I want to be like, because I think one of the questions is, do you only use Sony? So I want to make, I don't know. I'm just like, but I hear a lot of great things about like Tamron and Sigma, and it's tempting. It's so tempting.
I have a couple of Sony native lenses, but for the most part of it, I'm using this Sigma or the Tamron Holy Trinity.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like
or Hebrew Trinity, as Flo calls them.
That's my goal for next year.
The 17 to 28, the 28 to 75, and then the 70 to 180.
Ooh, okay.
And they are awesome. I've shot weddings, I've shot all sort of events with those Tamron lenses. I have no issues. But yeah, if you're looking for the kind of ambassador role, then yeah, I think one of the requirements is that you own 2 full frame bodies from Sony and a couple of G Master lenses.
Yeah. I have I just ordered Well, not just. I recently, as soon as they released it a couple weeks ago, the Sony A7 IV.
I'm waiting for mine too.
I'm
I
like,
pre-ordered the very first day it was released.
yeah, I saw. Were you sitting in on the live session and stuff when they had it going?
Yes.
It was. Did you see the video that they dropped like right before the live session, and they like took it down immediately?
Yep.
I saw all the specs on that thing even before they announced it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, this camera looks awesome!" But
I ended up seeing Northrop's leaked video the day before.
Okay.
So, but for me, my whole aim was whatever it was, I was ordering it. Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't really counting on the specs because I needed a body to replace my A7 III. So I was definitely going to get it. So it just turned out it was good. But whatever it was, that was going to be my next camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody was telling me, they were like, no, just get the A7 III. Like, it'll be cheaper. I'm like, nope. I was like, this will be my camera for the next 10 years. And I'm going to be proud when I purchase this thing. So
yeah. Because I've been needing a second body for a long time, but I was holding off for the A7 IV.
Yeah.
Then my A7 III started giving me issues, right? So one way or the other, A7 IV was a must, but now I'm thinking about a second one.
There you go. What second one are you thinking of?
A7 IV again.
Oh, you're going to have two of them.
Yes.
Oh,
because I do weddings, so events.
Sure.
So I always need a second body as a backup.
Right.
For the longest time, I used the A64 as a backup, and then A7 III as my main. But now I want to just go 2 A7 IVs, and that's it.
There you go.
For
Dude,
maybe
that would be an awesome setup.
And sell me the RP.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to. The goal for next year is to complete the Holy Trinity. I think I definitely want to do that, and then I'll have my body, which would be nice. But I really, really, really want to get new lenses because I'm trying to, one of my goals for next year is to really beef up my video operation. So I really just want to get heavy into YouTube next year. I kind of established myself a little bit in what I want to do on the back end. So I have I have my video processing, my audio processing, everything that, my workflows that I do. It's just you hear people say it all the time. I just need that one extra piece of gear. I need that one thing to make it happen,
Yeah.
So the only thing that's really stopping me right now is I just have to record my audio and my video separate. And I just hate mashing the two together. It's just the most painstaking process. And so, once I can,
There's a plugin for that.
There's a plugin, Evan will tell you.
Oh, really?
There's that's what I do all the time. My setup right now.
Okay.
Well, for live streams, I'm just using this, right? But most of the time, this is a Rode Wireless Go 2. Most of the time, if I'm out vlogging, sometimes the audio is just being recorded right to the microphone.
Yeah.
When I get home, I sync it with the camera. But there's what do you call it? There's a couple of them. There's one's called I think Syncala, something like that. But the one I use is called Pura Eyes.
Okay.
Because I do weddings, right? So I have small clips, and I can come home with 200 individual clips. There's no time for me to sync them one by one. So because at weddings, what I do is I use a Zoom H6 to record from the DJ's sound mixer into that. And then my camera is just grabbing scratch audio from the room as I go. When I come back home, I bring all of that into Pura Eyes. One click, it syncs them all up.
One click
and creates a timeline for you that you import into Premiere or DaVinci.
It's insane.
So now I have. Okay, so now I know what to do.
Pura Eyes, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been using that for 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into that tonight, and I might even start recording my YouTube videos again tonight.
Let's go.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
If it's just your YouTube videos, right, and it's one clip, one take, without stopping the camera,
right,
then you can actually do it easily in Premiere Pro. Just bring the audio and then the video, select them on the timeline, and synchronize audio by waveform.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's done.
Usually how I have my videos is I sync up my blog post with the videos that I do. So the blog post is just an already written outline of what the video is going to be. So yeah, like when I sit down and record, I sit in my chair and then I'll just go and just ramble for like, 5 or 6 minutes and then cut it up however I need to. Usually I cut out like 5 minutes of the 6-minute ramble that I went on. But yeah, that's basically just how I do it. So that would be, and I really only do like, I really only have like 5 or maybe 6 video clips to just kind of edit in and work in. So that would be perfect.
Yeah. If you don't have too many clips, you can do it easily in Premiere or even in DaVinci Resolve, just on the timeline or even in the bin before you bring it to the timeline. But when I do weddings and I have a lot of clips, that's too much time consuming. So I use ProIce to just cut down all that work in 5 minutes or less.
Absolutely. No, that's, like I said, music to my ears. I'm gonna be looking all into it tonight.
I told you, Dan. If you want to make something work, just ask Evans.
I'm gonna be DMing you a lot more questions after this. Believe me.
100%. Well, man, crush those videos on YouTube, man. That's for sure. It's a process, like everything else, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a process.
It's a fun process, though.
It's fun. Yeah. Again, I mean, if not even fun, then what's the point, right? But,
yeah. YouTube is one of those things where I don't know if you guys have been messing around with YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, we've
just
started.
Yeah, so that's something I'm kind of delving into a little bit. I've been noticing some interesting things there, but then for like long form content, YouTube's a beast, man. It's a different monster than any other platform, and I tell that to everybody. It's like you really need to prove that you're consistent and passionate and quality work is being provided on this platform for you to really succeed. And if you do, then you can do really well. But it's
for me, YouTube is where I have most of my conversations with people, is in comments on my videos.
Yeah,
like over any other platform.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I feel like a big reason for that is like when you really want to know what you're looking for and you know what the kind of content that you want to consume. YouTube is the place. Like their algorithm for recommending videos and stuff is ridiculous. Like so much, I think it's even still better than TikTok. Like I log on to YouTube. I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys. I'm sure it has, but like you log on to YouTube thinking that you're going to search something, but then you're like scrolling through the recommendations. You're like, oh, like this, this stick figure fight that's 15 minutes long. It seems like a pretty good video to watch. And then before you're onto like something completely different.
Honestly, sometimes I think YouTube is. I had this feeling that YouTube is listening to my conversations on my phone, because I could be sitting here talking to my wife about something. I open up YouTube and I see videos related to what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes like, what?
It's 100%. It's wild, man. Like just again, like I know we said it with NFTs and stuff, but just tech in general is it's crazy to see everything that they're doing, and but it's fun.
I'm in high tech. I know what's coming.
Yeah. There was a there was a gentleman that so I bartend in Pittsburgh, and so the bar that I'm at, a lot of locals like to come in, and so one of the locals that comes in, he works for Duolingo, and he is he got his PhD in speech technology, and I could be mistaken on the terminology, but anyway, he used to work for Apple, and he used to be in the room with people, I guess, when they were developing Siri. He then moved to Duolingo and, is a big part of their operations and stuff. And he's like helping develop, this new AI that's like, he was showing me it. And basically like what it is it'll recognize, again, I'm not sure if I'm going to explain this the best, but Duolingo, if you're holding your phone or you're on your computer, I guess is going to utilize your camera to recognize your facial expressions and how you pronounce words. And it's going to dictate whether you've pronounced the word correctly in how they would actually pronounce it how you actually should be pronouncing it. So It's weird. It's like crazy weird. Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's like
Alright.
taking that learning the language like to a whole new level on like, okay, this is actually how you should be forming your mouth to be saying this sound. Or
Is there a hand that comes up from the screen that like slaps you if you get it wrong? Like what?
I don't know. I mean, I hope not.
Electric shock therapy.
Yeah, what happens if you get it wrong? That's what I'm worried about.
Exactly. Yeah. So I took to. He got in my head the other day, and he was like, you should be learning a new language. I was like, I would love to, but every time I try to start a new language, I would stop like a weekend. He's like, just do like 10 minutes a day. I'm like, you know what, man? I was like,
yeah,
you know how to persuade me. So now I included Spanish for 10 minutes every morning into my morning routine. So
right on.
Yeah, but
good.
Trying to see if it sticks. It's always one of those things where I'm like, I hope it does. I don't want to get like, I'm very routine based. So I hope I just don't get sidetracked with stuff.
The ultimate test is YouTube videos in Spanish. It's a whole different audience, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Just go for it.
I mean, hey, why not? Yeah, they also have like a really good program, I guess they said, for Mandarin. So I downloaded the Mandarin today, and literally like an hour and a half before this, I was learning it, and I couldn't. It's hard, dude. That Mandarin, Japanese, like it's a hard language. And so I made it through the first stage unscathed, but then like going into the second stage, having to remember that it's crazy. Like it makes me want to learn it so much more because it's just that much more interesting. But like the way that they pronounce stuff, like the alphabet, is just all alien to me, and it would be alien to anybody else, but it's just wild. But it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. Well, next time you come on with us, maybe you can speak Spanish or Mandarin or Japanese or whatever, right?
I was gonna say, hopefully I get to that point. I would love if that happens.
Yeah.
Next time Dan's on, I expect 8 languages minimum.
Live from Tokyo, DanCosta.
He said all it takes 10 minutes a day. That's all it takes. I'm like, all right, I'll go with you. So.
Yeah. Well.
Nice.
Keep working hard at that. You want to plug your podcast before we sign off?
Yeah, absolutely. So podcast is the DanCosta podcast. It's now available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcasts. But yeah, go give it a listen. It's a long form discussion, based solely, mainly around creatives and artists, but I'd like to have like musicians. I'm going to have a couple local Pittsburgh artists on pretty soon, comedians, entrepreneurs. I'd love to have some like authors and just a wide variety of people on.
Have some people from Canada on. Have some people from Canada on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you guys, I mean, seriously, like again, like I'm booked out until March. So I told you guys that
April, man, we'll do it.
Yeah. So I told you guys, I'm doing like 2 a week now. So I have some slots available. So if you guys want to come on, please do.
Love to. That'd be fantastic. It'd be like
talk about getting photos of zoo animals.
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
Guys, we can talk about whatever you want. I mean, that, like, seriously, I'm all about just coming in and talking about whatever, as long as it's fun and we're having a good time. That's all I care about. So
yeah, 100%, man.
Nice.
We're bumping up against our hours, so huge thanks again to Dan for taking the time. Real treat, and thanks everyone for jumping on. Again, if you don't know who we are, if you're coming from Dan's side of the world, we all have YouTube channels, and all the links are in the description. Check us out, subscribe, make sure you like this video, obviously, and throw it to Mr. McGowan for some final thoughts.
Final thoughts, keep it short and simple. Shoot, have fun, create stuff, and learn how to promote yourself properly by following a guy like Dan.
Yes, 100%.
That's it.
No, I appreciate you guys. This was an awesome time.
Yeah, Andre?
Thanks for watching, everybody, and it was great having a guest that's very active in this whole scene and trying to get his word out there, and it's always inspirational to have that. And so thanks for watching, and don't let yourself block yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
That's gotta go on the VNL t-shirt,
I'm getting some made.
I'm telling you, go away. Evans?
All right. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you very much, Dan. It's been a wonderful conversation tonight. community guys, go check out Dan's Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube is in the description as well. So check him out as well. It's been very nice having you.
Before we let Dan go, we are having a long exposure challenge
next week.
So next week we're talking about long exposure. So if you want to submit, you can look at one of the long exposure posts on the Open Shutter IG, and it'll give you directions on how to submit a shot. A lot of the community members have submitted shots, so we welcome any and all submissions for the long exposure challenge.
And they're all going to be NFTs after, so
there we go.
Just joking.
I'll be involved in it. I'm looking at it right after this.
And it's Dan, final thoughts, man?
No, I really do appreciate you guys having me on. This was awesome, and I definitely want to be involved in any way that I can with you guys moving forward. But for everybody out there, for anybody, be open to new things, and always keep pushing forward, keep it positive, keep moving forward, and specifically to creatives, we all start from square one. Just be consistent and be authentic, and be yourself. People will come. They want to listen. You just got to put yourself out there, genuinely and openly. So that's all I have.
Well said, man. You fire me up, man. Fire me up. Stay after we go offline because we have a green room party after. So stay online.
Cool.
And thanks everyone for jumping on. And we'll see you next week. Peace. Thank you, Evan.